In this video, we're going to talk about condensation polymers and the exam style questions associated with polyamides. So this is the video again where you stop the video, do the questions, and then allow me to explain. So we have an exam style question, which is probably the most common, which is draw the repeating unit from the amino acid. It can be in other examples as well, but it's really important you're very good at drawing repeating units, very common. So if we put this to the side and then move the structure up, okay, I want you to think about how you do the repeating unit and stop the video and do it. Now how you do it is to look here and see, right, okay, we have an amino acid because we've got an amine and we've got a carboxylic acid, and then this is our R group coming off the alpha carbon. So what we do here is we know it's a condensation reaction, OH leaves, H leaves. So let's highlight those. So there's your H, there's your OH, and they're both leaving. And then you put the bonds in to show this is bonding to another molecule of itself, again in a nice chain. So that's what we do. So we've taken the OH off, we've taken the H off, and then we've put our bonds going to the next molecule in the polymer. And then all we have to do is finish it off with the number of waters that we've got. So remember, the end of the chain doesn't react, so therefore it's -1, N-1 of water. And really good skill to do, and if you want to create questions for yourself, change your R group and just practice drawing these things. It's well worth it. Now we're going to move on to drawing the monomers and doing some of the most common questions where you can get. So draw the structure of the two monomers that form this condensation polymer. You can do this with polyesters as well, but with amides they normally tend to put them in some form of formula like this because they can get quite complicated with structural formula. Now, if we look here, we just do it in exactly the same way. So let's move that across and make ourselves some space. So what I did there is I just looked along and I saw where the repeat was. So if you look here, we've got a carbonyl, then we move on to one carbon, then the next carbonyl, then the nitrogen, then the carbon, and then the nitrogen. And so we've got two repeating units. So whenever you come across questions like this, look for the repeating units every single time. Okay, and if needs be, highlight it or anything like that. But just make sure that's the first step. Now, we're just going to get rid of one of the repeating units, so we'll get rid of the green now. Okay, so, and then we'll go on to the splitting this up. So if you look here, we can start to see that we make an amide from doing a acyl chloride and an amine. So which part of this will be the amine? Well, so this looks like it's the amine, okay, and this looks like it can be the acyl chloride. Now this looks like it's a diacyl chloride and this looks like it's a diamine. So let's just cut this bond here between where the amine is and the acyl chloride or carboxylic acid. Okay, now let's split that and move it across. Now, because we want to know the monomers of this, the question can't be specific. So for example, it could be a carboxylic acid or it could be an acyl chloride. Now, if that is the case, okay, in this case, I'm going to put on the OH, I'm going to put on the carboxylic acid to show the two monomers, but you could easily just put the diacyl chloride. So let's start doing that. Let's put our OH and our H back in. So we put our OH back on that carbon, and then we put our H on that amine. And then we're going to do the same to the next amide bond. The next amide bond would be here and here. So we'll put an OH and an H in again. So the process is exactly the same as esters. You're going to put the OH and H for the water back in, or if you want to make this from acyl chlorides, okay, you'd replace both of those OHs with chlorines, and it would still work because obviously with this they can't be that specific.